Next book I'm going to be talking about is called Gunning for Hits. It's from Image Comics. It's by a first-time comic writer named Jeff Rougvie, and the art is done by this guy named Moritat. And the writer, he apparently worked in the record industry for several years. He was even working with David Bowie in the late 80s and 90s. And he always had this idea for this comic book because he was always like a comic book fan, and he wanted to do a comic about the record industry. And finally, after all these decades, he finally got a comic publisher to invest in him and do his book. So the storyline in this is that we're starting out, and it's 1987, and there's this musician named Billy. And, he's this hot new kind of rock guy, but he's very unknown. And this record guy, this A&R guy, A&R are the people that work in the record industry and try to hire new bands and new acts. If you've watched the HBO show Vinyl, you might be a little bit more familiar with this whole world. So this A&R guy is trying to sign Billy, and Billy's girlfriend Diane is doing the negotiations. She's sort of like the girlfriend / manager for Billy, and she is a tough negotiator. She's like, we want $6 million, we want all of this marketing money, we want to have, billboards in Madison Square Gardens, we want to perform in Madison Square Gardens, we want Madonna to open for us. And this record guy, he's not really fazed by a lot of her questions, by a lot of her demands, right? He's like going along with it, and he's sort of fulfilling everything, and they're sort of getting closer to an agreement. And then the girlfriend kind of does something that out of left field, and she says that she wants the record guy to suck Billy's dick. Because it's like a power move, I guess, and it's a way to tell if this record guy is really serious about signing this artist. So then we take a step back now, and for the next 7 pages, the record guy is explaining to us, the reader, the ins and outs of the record business and record deals. And we're learning that, if a recording artist signs a $6 million deal, how much are they actually getting? It's explained how the record companies kind of take a whole bunch of money from the artist, and the lawyers get their fees, and the producers get their fees, and the promotions, and all these expenses, and how the record company sort of manages to always be profitable, and the artist kind of gets screwed. And because the writer actually worked in the record industry for so long, you're really getting an inside look about somebody that actually knows this industry. And I found it to be pretty fascinating and very interesting. So finally, after these few pages of explanation, this record guy talking to Billy and his girlfriend, and he's like, fine, I'll suck your dick. And nobody isolate that. And so finally, after these few pages, this record guy decides that he's going to do it. He's going to blow Billy. And, they're about to get to it. But then all of a sudden, he, pulls out this gun. And he's like, I did other stuff before the music business. Effed up stuff. Horrific bloody work. I used to blow people's brains out for a living. He's kind of threatening them. He's like, so do we have a deal? And that's how this issue ends. I thought the pulling the gun out was really out of left field, but maybe people in the record industry are really badass or something. But no, I thought this was a pretty interesting debut issue. I like the inside look of the music industry. I thought it was pretty interesting. And I love this 80s, 90s time period, and how the music industry worked back then. So yeah, this was a pretty interesting debut issue. So different than every other comic out there. A very different perspective of other writers that would tackle this subject. So yeah, this was pretty good. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10.